The cream of South Africa's off-road talent challenged each other on the 1 kilometre circuit. And first off were the motorcycle riders. On the first lap, Alan Julian on his Pro Honda 250, took the lead. But he was hard-pressed to keep ahead of Daryl Curtis on his AGA Panasonic Pro Action KTM 250, Gary Lipchik on his Honda, and Errol Dalton on the Lesotho Office Equipment Honda. The riders were clearly enjoying themselves in this non-championship event, and they put up a great show for the many people who came to watch. It's not often that spectators get the opportunity to see the skills of our top off-road racers displayed on a circuit when one can see almost all the action all the time. The circuits had been built along the lines of the highly popular Stadium Off-Road Series in the United States and provided not only spectacle but also a tough challenge for man and machine. Alan Julian gradually opened up a handy lead over the rest of the field, but a heated battle was being fought out for second place between Errol Dalton, Daryl Curtis, Henny Human on the little Lesotho Office Equipment Honda, and Gary Lipchik. Julian and the rest of the field had come through a series of qualifying rounds to end up in the final, and he was doing much better in this race against some regular winners than he himself probably expected. After the race, the riders were unanimous in their praise of the idea of stadium-type racing, and there's a distinct possibility that this event could be repeated next year. The crowd also showed their interest and appreciation by turning out in their droves. Julian was never threatened in the race, taking the checkered flag ahead of Dalton, Curtis, Henny Human, and Gary Lipchik. The quad racers were also in action. In the unlimited category, the crowd were treated to some outstanding racing. The riders were clearly reveling in the conditions and in the fact that they could show off their skills in front of an appreciative audience. Surprises became the order of the day as the lead in the quad race was taken by another unfancied rider, Yuri Human on a Honda. Peter and Paul Breckel on their Brasco refrigeration Yamaha Banshee 350s followed in second and third respectively, with pre-race favourite Vickers van Deventer on his Pro Group Security Yamaha in fourth, ahead of Mark Breckel on a 300 Yamaha and Team Joburg Yamaha's Rod McPherson on a 350cc machine. Once again, the leader opened up a gap, while the Breckels were having a huge go at each other for second position. The riders soon found out that this type of racing is much tighter than they're used to in the longer events in the Championship Series, and that the racing techniques have to be altered accordingly. Yuri Human was enjoying the fact that he was in the lead, and more importantly, that he was leading the man who'd been dominating this category in the past season, Vickers van Deventer, who could not close the gap to the leader from fourth position. As the race progressed, Human built up a huge lead over the two Breckels, with Peter pulling away from Paul. It seemed that the third-place man was tiring, as Van Deventer was homing in on him. In the end, nobody could catch Human, and the order down the field also remained the same. So the cars took to the circuit, and it seemed that just about everybody was intent on getting to the first corner first. That, of course, is impossible, and the result was a lot of frantic jockeying for position through the first few turns. Off-road vehicles, by definition, don't need a smooth road in order to perform, but some of the competitors literally locked horns in their efforts to get ahead. Willy Prinsloo and his Sandmaster jumped into the early lead, with Cliff Barker and Mike Redden in their Land Rover trying their best to force him into a mistake. Some interesting lines were taken through the corners as drivers tried to outfox each other, and right down the field some exciting battles were developing. Off-road racing can be pretty bone-jarring, and you need to be extremely fit to be able to cope. Third at this stage was Wade Perrins in his Sandmaster, followed by Francois Stander in his Orco and Henry Zermatten in a Shed Love. This was the closest battle for the lead of the day's finals, as Cliff Barker tried everything he could to get past Prinsloo. Wade Perrins was also closing on the leaders. Colin Frankenberg in his VW Opel Superboss had an additional handicap to deal with. Barker's chance finally came when Prinsloo went wide, and with Perrins closing rapidly, the positions up front could very well change again. Colin Frankenberg was moving up the field despite the fact that he had only limited vision, while Wade Perrins took Prinsloo on the inside at the same place where he'd lost his lead to Barker. But the door was slammed firmly in his face, and Perrins did the only logical thing to do, carry straight on. With Prinsloo out of the way, Barker and Reddin pulled away from the opposition, while Perrins was getting close to second position again. Things were getting rather robust in this battle, but it was finally resolved when Prinsloo slowed with mechanical melodies to allow Perrins into second place. So Barker won the race ahead of Perrins and the partially sighted Frankenberg.